Welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for the West Ada School District. It is Monday, April 27th, 2026 at 6 p.m. We are very grateful tonight to have Peregrine Elementary School here to lead us in the pledge. Will everyone please stand?
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, Mr. Labby and anyone else that's involved with Peregrine Elementary here and admin, come on up and we'll take a quick picture. Thank you so much. All right, Madam Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
Madam Chair, there are none.
All right, I'll turn the time over to Dr. Bubb for his reports and spotlights.
Madam Chair, trustees, I am not going to go through a list of highlights, although I think at this time of year we can absolutely have a list of highlights. I think the best highlight is the energy that we have in this room right now with all of these amazing people here. So thank you guys for being here. But I will highlight one item. We had the We Are West Ada Awards Friday night. Katie Rodenbaugh put that on for all of our Teachers of the Year and Classified Staff Members of the Year. They're really the people that make everything happen across West Ada. Every single one of our schools across the district were represented there. We also nominated or gave awards for Administrators of the Year, high school, middle school, and elementary school, and overall district employees of the year. So it was just a great night. It was a great way to celebrate the amazing things happening within West Ada. So I will yield all my other time to Mr. John Labby to come up and talk a little bit about the great things going on at Peregrine.
Good evening, Madam Chair Frazier, trustees, Dr. Bubb, and members of the executive team. I'm honored and I thank you greatly for this opportunity to share with you some of the highlights of Peregrine Elementary. At Peregrine Elementary, we fly with pride. We embody our daily commitments to excellence with our learner dispositions. As you can see up there, they are perseverance, regulation, inquiry, driven, and excellence. We are greatly proud of the accomplishments that we have earned over the past years. Specifically, Peregrine has jumped nearly 200 spots in the statewide school rankings that were released last month. In 2018, we ranked 303rd statewide. By the 2022 rankings, we had jumped up to 198th overall, and the most recent one last month, we hit to another 73 spots to 125th overall. We are very proud of this steady progress, and we look forward to continuing that success. Peregrine has embraced the Best First Instruction initiatives of West Ada School District. Through professional development at the building and district level, we constantly seek to improve upon our instruction. In the photo up to the upper left, we have teacher Caitlin Chilcote that works through the SB routines with her group of second grade students. The SB routines have had a tremendous impact on our student learning, and our March data point indicates that we have already reached or even surpassed nearly all of our end of the year goals for 2026, and we are currently projected at an overall proficiency of 75%. Direct modeling in math has also been a focus for instruction district-wide. Peregrine has embraced the McDowell instructional model. And we're getting very encouraging feedback as indicated in the diagram to the lower right, which projects math proficiency across grades 3, 4, and 5. At the beginning of the year, we were expected at a 16% proficiency. This has grown to 38% during the second diagnostic. Early projections indicate that we will again reach our growth goals for the year. We are greatly proud that all of our students are showing academic growth toward proficiency. Similarly, we have continued to progress along our goals toward the proficiency on the ELA ISAT. As seen in the final chart, we have had steady growth in all 3 grades in the last 4 years. We are very proud of that, and we're excited to do some more. At Peregrine, we like to celebrate the everyday experience of life in addition to just academics. As seen on the slide, we had a really fun after-school theater group this year, which is one of the many advantages that we enjoy as a host school and location of a community school. The community school provides endless services for our students as families, such as clothing, coats, shoes, and personal items from toothpaste to diapers, not to mention gas cards and food items, and the occasional play after school. We enjoyed hosting a bike rodeo, the annual trunk or treat event that we call the Monster Mash. We have grade level choir performances, and we also celebrate a 100th day of school with a little dress up to look 100 years old, of course. And no jogathon would be complete without some cheerleaders giving encouragement. So we thank you greatly. Peregrine thrives on making every student feel like he or she is important at school. This includes the annual fun run attended by the students in our Soul Kids After School Running Club. That is, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate this opportunity to share with Peregrine.
Thank you so much, and I know you're grateful we packed the house for you tonight. That's what you were hoping for, right? And if I can interrupt Dr. Bubb for one moment, I forgot to excuse Trustee Benetti. He's not in town this evening. I believe he's calling in. Is that yet? Yes. He is on the phone, so hello, David Benetti.
Madam Chair, trustees, let me just give some decorum really quick. If you have somebody that comes up that's either being honored or is going to speak and you would like to get a picture of them, please feel free to take a picture. We want you to be able to do that. This is an important moment for everybody here. So, and if you are later on the list, we're going to get through this as fast as possible. We did the record number of spotlights tonight, so we could make sure we honored everybody. So next up, we have Centennial High School with Ryan Wilhite and Susie Four and Charlie Ruff. And just as a side note, Ryan Wilhite was our high school administrator of the year this year.
Executive team. My name is Ryan Wilhite. I'm honored to serve as the principal of Centennial High School. I want to thank you for the opportunity to highlight the many positive things happening at CHS this semester. As we approach the end of the school year, I could not be more proud of our staff and students. This year, our staff committed to taking intentional, achievable steps to grow in their practice, focused on being better educators in May than they were in August. Through our end-of-year evaluation conversations, it has been encouraging to listen to teachers clearly articulate the instructional shifts that they've made, particularly in strengthening clarity around learning intentions and success criteria and increasing meaningful student discourse. These efforts are leading to higher levels of engagement and deeper learning for our students, and our staff is energized to continue this work moving forward. Our students continue to lead the way in building a culture of kindness at Centennial High School. They pursue excellence not only for themselves, but in how they support and encourage others. The students and staff at Centennial High are like a rising tide that lifts the surrounding ships. What you'll hear tonight reflects not just success within our own school, but the impact our students and staff are having across the broader West Ada community. Centennial is a place where people care deeply about one another and are committed to making a positive difference in our world. Before I turn it over to our students, I'd like to thank our student council advisors standing in the back, Mrs. Susie Forer and Mr. Charlie Ruff, for their leadership, and congratulate our student council on their recent accomplishment in being awarded the prestigious National Council of Excellence Award by the National Association of Student Councils, a feat only 3 schools in Idaho achieved this year. And now please welcome our ASB co-presidents Bailey Simpson and Madeline Bueller, who will share more about the great things happening at CHS this semester. Bailey and Madeline.
Good evening, Chairman Frazier, Dr. Bubb, Board of Trustees. My name is Bailey Simpson.
And my name is Madeline Bueller, and we are the co-ASB presidents of Centennial High School, accompanied by our advisors, Mrs. Four and Mr. Ruff.
We wanted to give you guys a quick reminder of our CHS values of care, honor, serve. That has become a part of our daily lives at Centennial. We care about each other, honor and celebrate our uniquenesses, and strive to serve others in all that we do. And this is what makes Centennial special.
Awesome. We'll start by honoring our academics and sharing some of our school's accomplishments with you this year. Centennial is proud to honor our National Merit Scholars this year, more than any of the other Big Six schools, Renaissance excluded. We have 3, Lawson Roque, Madeline Smith, and Nancy Johnson. They will represent Centennial well this year. Additionally, 28 students from Centennial earned the STEM diploma out of 158 students district-wide. Furthermore, this year we also took advantage of the new opportunity of the Seal of Biliteracy. 69 students took a variety of languages, from 9 taking ASL, 4 taking Arabic, 14 taking French, 17 doing German, 2 Mandarin, 1 Persian Farsi, 1 Portuguese, 2 Russian, 1 Somal Mai, and 14 Spanish, 2 Swahili, 2 Ukrainian. So it's a very exciting time with so many extra academic opportunities available at Centennial.
Yeah, speaking of higher opportunities, AP tests are right around the corner. Centennial offers 16 AP classes and has 460 students testing this year, which is 95 more than last year. Centennial typically scores high, with the average across all tests being a 3.5 and with a 79% passing rate, as well as half of our AP classes had a 100% pass rate, so yeah.
Coming up as well, we have our annual ISATs. At Centennial, we do what is known as the Super Bowl of testing to try to get a little more incentives into the testing process. We have a schedule of testing days, celebrations, and prizes to motivate our junior class as they do these tests. A few of the prizes are a whole class pizza party, a drawing for our famous striped pants, an ultimate tardy pass, senior parking spots, yearbooks, and free prom tickets.
We are also very proud of our athletic and activity awards. We would like to share a few with you guys tonight. Our varsity boys basketball team won 3rd in state, and we had an amazing showing of our Pat Pack each and every game. Speaking of state basketball, during the halftime of the championship game, Centennial's 1995 team was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And then Henry Johnson won Defensive Player of the Year, and Gabriel Eddins won First Team State All-State. For our wrestling team, 13 wrestlers went to state with 5 placing, and Burke Blue, runner-up, are 2 of our girls for 3rd and 2 of our boys for 7th. Next, we rounded 15 students from our choir, band, and orchestra that are going to state solo and ensemble. Our Science Bowl team won 3rd place, and our Youth Government Club is also going to state, with our speech and debate also going to state as well. And then so did our FFA, placing 4th. So yeah.
Lots of stuff at state this year. We had an exciting time. Coach Eiperschbach, our amazing basketball coach who led our team to state this year, won the well-deserved Coach of the Year. He is retiring from coaching for 24 years, and although we'll miss him, we wish him best of luck, and luckily he's still teaching at Centennial. Furthermore, our very own Miss Patel won Teacher of the Year, and Ryan Olson, our bookkeeper, won Classified Staff of the Year. As well as congrats to Miss Lacey for receiving the Hubcap Award for Quarter 3. We also want to do a quick shout out to Mr. Wilhite for winning Principal of the Year, and we're so proud of him, and we're so excited he came to Centennial this last year.
Moving to student recognition, we continue to support and celebrate the hardworking students of Centennial throughout Student of the Week, where we highlight each of our core values. Our Student of the Week program gives students who have earned Pat Cash an opportunity to win the randomly selected Student of the Week prizes. Winning students are visited in their classrooms, given a certificate and a treat, and are featured on various social media platforms. Some more specific celebrations are our upcoming senior gift, in which we have a metal working company donating a giant C for Centennial and on the cement pad, as well as landscaping to add to our beautiful campus grounds.
Bailey and I also had the opportunity to be featured on the West Ada Student Pulse segment and had a great discussion about Real CHS, Pat Cash, and Student Council outreach, so thank you guys for allowing us that opportunity. More recently, a Centennial alumni, Grant Chapman, was featured on KTVB segment for working on the Artemis II spaceship. Grant was a student in our science teacher, Miss Jewett's astronomy class, and went on to work at NASA, so really cool to see how far Centennial's making it in the world.
Speaking of acknowledgements, our Pat Cash system is flourishing. There have been over 12,000 acknowledgements and therefore positive messages being sent home. As a reminder, Pat Cash is an incentive-based electronic currency connected to our students' IDs. Students are able to visit the Pat Cash store weekly to purchase items of their choice. It's definitely a mad dash during lunch to get to the Pat Cash store, and we run out of these items very quick, so it's pretty popular.
Our goal with Pat Cash is just to help strong conversations occur at home each and every day about the great things happening at Centennial. The idea has actually been able to spread across the district, starting new encouragement programs at other high schools and middle schools. And we have led this effort to enable district-wide implementation, just like Mr. Wilhite was talking about, lifting up all those around us. Pat Cash isn't our only outreach and collaborative event, though. We recently met with the YHE to talk about lip sync video. And although our goal is to always build up Centennial's events, especially as student council, we want to work to help those around us as well.
And then speaking of the lip sync video, we just finished our 2026 lip sync, and it was a huge success. Thank you, Dr. Bub, for being a feature. It was not only a cool video, but most importantly, it highlighted our clubs and everyone within each club. The purpose of this video is to support each and every student to make sure they have a place or a club or a sport to participate in. And this is super important because studies have shown being involved can increase graduation rates, satisfaction levels, and emotional and mental happiness. So,
another outreach event we were able to participate in is the Hoops for Hunger campaign. That was actually a district-wide thing, and we were able to do a $1 Blitz fundraiser and make it to the top 2 schools in the district, and so that was super exciting. We were able to compete in the championship with the teacher and student basketball game, and although we unfortunately did not win that, we had a blast getting our student section back together for the game and to come together and support the students around the community to help them make sure they have that lunch. To outreach near our community, some of our student council members went across the street to our retirement home to play games, hang out with the residents, and plant some beautiful plants to keep them in their rooms. And earlier this December, we had our Mr. CHS event where senior boys competed in a pageant, and we tied it to a fundraiser for the Boise Rescue Mission and ended up raising $300 to donate to them.
thank you for listening. We are so grateful for this opportunity to present Centennial and all the things that has accomplished this year, and know there will be much more to come next year. So, yeah.
Thank you.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much. And I do have to point out, the thing that always really impresses me with Centennial is your school spirit. I think it was the Sweethearts dance. That was the same night as a game, and the crowd was full of students dressed up for Sweethearts. They came to the game before they went to the dance. It was fantastic. Well, we want to take a picture with you, so anybody that came with Centennial tonight, please come up.
Good news, we only have 41 more spotlights, so here we go. The unsung heroes of West Ada are often our procurement team. We have, obviously, we serve about 40,000 students, 60, coming up on 60 schools. Number 60 might be the most painful because we're trying to get desks and all of those things in there. And our procurement team is really the team that purchases all the items for our district, all of our employees, and make sure that our schools are well equipped. We don't always get a chance to celebrate them, so I'm going to turn it over to Dr. David Reinhardt to talk a little bit about what procurement does.
Madam Chair, trustees, Dr. Bubb, it is my honor tonight to talk about a group that you see their work at a regular basis because you see the contracts that they bring forward and save us a lot of money on, but we don't get to spotlight them much. They are led by your deputy clerk, who is also the Idaho Purchasing Association Manager of the Year, our very own Kathy Wright. To put it in context, through our diligent procurement processes, those contracts you sign, as we look at that and evaluate that, because we're so diligent, they save us $5 million a year just by doing competitive bids on public works. And so we really appreciate their work, and Kathy certainly does a great job leading. I'm going to highlight two major accomplishments this year, and the last one is going to be a West Ada first. The first thing I want to talk about is in the past, when a school would have a big portable full of furniture, old furniture that they didn't know what to do with anymore, a lot of times they just sat there and collected dust. We've implemented a way through the leadership of this small but very influential group to inventory that, and for lack of a better word, it's kind of like an eBay now. We call it West Ada Marketplace. And so schools, like when we're going to talk about a couple of buildings coming up, those buildings, rather than just always buying new, will be able to access, because we have a good inventory finally, and principals have a way of accessing that furniture, and we'll be able to save a good deal of money by reusing the things we have. So I want to, Lori Howard really steered that, and we appreciate her work. Now for a West Ada first. The first is not that we became, well, it is that we became the lead agency. The first is that there are people here that flew from other states to come to the board meeting, and they're leaving immediately after the board meeting, first thing in the morning. The purchasing cooperative of Equalis contacted us. We are now one of 6 lead agencies in their purchasing co-op in the country for school furniture. What that means is we did the bidding. Tonight you're going to look at that in consent, and if you approve it, sign it. We did the bidding. The school furniture business in our country is a $3.9 billion industry. $3.9 billion industry. What this does is allow schools from around the country to pick from a vendor off this list that we bid, that our small but influential group bid, and we will receive a portion of that sale that will come in as a revenue for us. Now, we won't have a portion of $3.9 billion, but we will have a portion of a portion of a portion. And we appreciate the fact that the Equalis group, if you want to raise your hands, you flew in. They flew in. And then I want to draw attention to 2 local vendors. We awarded to 5 vendors. We have awarded to School Specialties. They came up from Salt Lake. They came up tonight just to be here to witness it. So if you want to raise your hand, School Specialties. And then in our own backyard, we have Create Spaces, who was also awarded this contract. And Scott and Senator Cody Galloway own that company, and they've joined us as well this evening. When I think of West Ada, I tend to think we lead the way in a lot of ways, and certainly student achievement, but the operations that go on behind the scenes, creating conditions for learning, many times are the responsibility of small teams like Procurement. So thank you very much. I stand for any questions if you have any questions for me.
Any comments or questions? Thank you so much. This is amazing. I am continually shocked and in awe of the things you're able to do. Thank you, everyone that's here tonight. Thank you for everything you do for kids. This is wonderful. Thank you.
Could we get the robust procurement team, all 3 of you guys, to just stand up really quick to be recognized? Okay, now we are on to the next celebration. And Renee, I don't think you are up yet.
But you're so pretty, and
But
we're
I mean, I
thankful you're
love
here.
that. I love the fact that you're there. You're super excited about this. But
No,
first, we're going to go into.
She's just trying it out. She's just
Yeah.
getting the path.
like
You
it.
know,
You-
and like that was the dress
You did
rehearsal.
great.
Thanks.
You wanted to go tell Kathy congratulations on her award. I get it. But we're going to start with the Superintendent Advisory Committee. So when I got hired as superintendent, one of the questions I'll never forget was that the board had asked of me was, how am I going to feel about not being around kids every day? I actually get choked up talking about it because that is what I love to do. So I came up with this idea of bringing in our amazing students across the district. You can apply for it. We also bring in student council intentionally to talk them through leadership challenges that you have. We actually went through the book, Leader in Me this year. Everybody really actively engages, but also different things that come up across the district and different challenges that we have across the district. And so they're able to ask questions. I think we have really great conversations. I've learned more from them, and they've filled my cup probably more than I filled theirs. But without further ado, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Karsten to talk a little bit about some of the work they've been doing.
Good evening, Chair Frazier, trustees, and Dr. Bubb. My name is Karsten Clyde, and I'm a senior at Rocky Mountain High School. Tonight, I'm here as a representative of the Superintendent Student Advisory Council, or SSAC. Over the past 5 years, Dr. Bubb has made a consistent and meaningful investment in student voice by meeting monthly with ASB presidents and student representatives from all high schools across our district. These meetings have brought together all grades to ensure a wide range of perspectives are heard. This year, that work was formalized into what is now known as the Superintendent's Student Advisory Council. SSAC exists to strengthen student voice in district decision-making, especially when it comes to educational experiences and school culture. Tonight, we are here to share how that student voice has grown, how it connects to district-wide celebrations, and to present something we are incredibly proud of.
My name is Abby Marcoux, and I am a freshman at Eagle High, here as a representative of the SSAC. As you know, 2026 marks America's 250th anniversary, and schools across West Ada have embraced the America 250 celebration in inspiring ways. Across the district, students have been actively engaging with history, service, and civic responsibility. For example, Mountain View High School student Robert Bay was named Idaho's first-place winner in the nationwide America's Field Trip Contest, earning a unique, history-rich experience in Washington, D.C. and Virginia. At Meridian Elementary, students created a beautiful paper quilt made up of uniquely designed squares, each representing their understanding of America's history. And at Eagle High School, the Just Serve Club launched the America 250 Idaho Service Challenge, aiming for 250,000 acts of service statewide. Our school alone has already completed nearly 500 acts of service. These efforts show that students across West Ada are not just learning about history, we are actively participating in it.
Hello, my name is Tara Ramirez,
And I'm Alec Atherton.
and we're seniors at Meridian High School here to represent the SSAC. Not wanting to miss out on this important celebration, SSAC students also joined in through a unique opportunity. On March 6, 2026, right here in the Sawtooth boardroom, we participated in a full-day workshop led by Idaho Fine Arts Academy social studies teacher Kyle Giovannini. Mr. Giovannini guided us through an in-depth exploration of the development of the Bill of Rights, how it was created, debated, and ultimately shaped the voices of the people.
Inspired by this process, and after hours of thoughtful consideration and discussion, collaboration, and debate, we asked ourselves an important question. Which student rights are essential in West Ada to support a high-quality and well-rounded educational experience? Using a democratic process and gathering input from students across all 8 high schools, we worked together to draft what we believe reflects the needs, values, and voices of our student body.
Hello, my name is Madeline Bueller,
And I'm Bailey Simpson.
and we're seniors at Centennial High, here as representatives of the SSAC. We are proud to stand before you, not just as individuals, but as representatives of students across the district. We are here to present the West Ada Student Bill of Rights. This document represents student voice in action. It reflects our shared commitment to creating a positive school culture, meaningful learning experience, and an environment where every student feels heard, respected, and supported. As you view the accompanying photos and videos from the America 250 celebrations and our workshop, we hope you can see what we experienced firsthand, students who are engaged, thoughtful, and ready to contribute to their schools and their community. We, the representative students of the Superintendent Student Advisory Council, are honored to present this work to you. Thank you so much for your time, your leadership, and for valuing student voice in West Ada.
Thank you so much. I definitely want to get a picture with all of you, so if you'll come up. And I have to say, while you're walking up, I got to be at 2 of those meetings. Go ahead and walk up. And was just blown away at the depth. I think sometimes as adults, we forget that these individuals are going to be we're going to be in good hands with them running the country, with them making these decisions. These are talented people, and they want to learn, they want to understand, and they know how to represent and honor this country. So thank you so much. And anyone that knows Renee Senander just knows she's prepared, she's on top of things, she's early, she's ready. So we're excited.
And for the record, I don't really get choked up. I just said that on the script, so I said it just to make everybody feel better. Without further ado, I'll turn it over to Renee.
All right, thank you. Good evening, Chair Frazier, trustees, Superintendent Dr. Bubb. I'm excited because hiring excellent leaders is one of my favorite parts of this role. I'm honored to be here this evening with 4 outstanding principal recommendations, and the energy in this room is just incredible tonight. It really means a lot to have such strong showing of support for our school communities. Before we dive into each recommendation, I just want to acknowledge how special it is to have all of you in the room this evening, supporting this important moment for your schools and for our district. I'm grateful to see colleagues from Eagle Hills, Frontier, Seven Oaks, and Mountain View, and friends from our neighboring schools. Thank you for taking the time to be here and to show, and for the Carey Show in representing your schools and these candidates. So thank you. We're going to start off our principal recommendations this evening with Eagle Hills Elementary. Eagle Hills Elementary's current principal, Curtis Anderson, will be embarking on a new adventure at the end of the school year, and we're incredibly grateful for his 4 years of leadership at Eagle Hills and the lasting impact he has made on the school community. We wish him all the best as he begins this next exciting chapter. And with that, it's my pleasure to recommend Mr. Nolan Kirby as the next principal for Eagle Hills Elementary School. Mr. Kirby joined West Ada last year as a Dean of Student Achievement. Prior to joining our district, he served as both a principal and athletic director at Kootenai High School, bringing with him a strong foundation in teaching, leadership, and building school culture. In his current role supporting both Seven Oaks and Eagle Hills, he's already built a meaningful relationships with students, staff, and families, leading with purpose and a clear focus on student success. We're confident that Mr. Kirby's leadership will have a positive impact on Eagle Hills Elementary. And at this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Kirby up to share a few words with you, and he'd be happy to address any questions you may have.
Dear Chair Frazier, trustees, Dr. Bubb, and the executive team, thank you for the opportunity to stand before you and for the trust that you've placed in me. I am deeply honored to step into this role and to serve the students, staff, and families of Eagle Hills Elementary. I would like to begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to Curtis Anderson, sitting here tonight, whose leadership and commitment have made a lasting impact. I'm thankful for the foundation that he has built and the example he has set, and I look forward to continuing that work at Eagle Hills. I also want to take a moment to thank the Eagle Hills staff and community for their faith in me and for their commitment to our students. I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity to serve alongside such a dedicated and high-performing team. And I will say they are very high-performing, 5th in the state for elementaries and 7th overall schools, which is a tremendous accomplishment. Additionally, I would like to recognize and thank Lisa Hale and Jill Lillenkamp for their support, guidance, and coaching this year in the DOSA program. Their investment in my growth has meant a great deal and has helped prepare me for this next step. I also want to thank the Seven Oaks Elementary community and Principal Allie Wagner. It has been a privilege to serve alongside such dedicated educators, supportive families, and incredible students. Seven Oaks holds a special place in my heart, and I'm truly grateful for the relationships and experiences that have shaped me both personally and professionally. Also, this is my 1-year-old daughter. We'll talk after the meeting. I'll make sure. I'm also thankful for my time with the Kootenai School District, where I spent 8 wonderful years. That community provided me with invaluable opportunities and experiences that have helped shape me as an educator and a leader I am today. My passion for this work is rooted in a deep belief in student achievement and the life-changing power of education. Tonight I have 2 of my greatest role models in the room. My dad, who has been in education for 42 years, currently serving. He's currently serving as the interim superintendent in Weiser. My mom, who spent 37 years in the classroom. Their example has inspired me to pursue this path and continues to guide my work. I have seen firsthand the impact of strong student-centered leadership can have, and I'm committed to carrying that forward. I would also like to thank my wife for her constant support and encouragement. This work would not be possible literally without her, as she's holding our 1-year-old. I'm deeply grateful to the many colleagues, mentors, and friends who've helped me along the way. I would not be here without their guidance, belief, and encouragement. As I look ahead to Eagle Hills Elementary, I'm excited to partner with students, staff, and families to build on existing strengths and continue striving for excellence. My vision is grounded in creating an environment where every student is known, supported, and challenged to reach their full potential. I believe in fostering strong relationships, maintaining a clear focus on high-quality instruction, and ensuring that all students have access to the opportunities they need to succeed. I'm also proud to be part of the West Ada system as a whole. West Ada's commitment to collaboration, innovation, and continuous improvement makes it an exceptional place for students, families, and staff. When we work together with a shared purpose, we create an environment where everyone can thrive. Thank you again for this opportunity and for your continued dedication to the students and communities we serve. I'm grateful and excited for the journey ahead. Thank you.
For anybody at home, we've got quite the fan club. They'll be signing autographs afterwards. We want to get a picture with you and your darling family. Your mom and dad, thank you so much for being here, for your service to education. It'd be wonderful to have you all come up.
Renee, before you go, I just have to take this opportunity to personally embarrass Nolan for a second. This is a testament to our DOSA program. Nolan showed up at his first meeting in West Ada in shorts and a t-shirt, and look where he is now. We're proud of you, buddy.
Chair Frazier, trustees, Superintendent Dr. Bubb. As we began the search for the next principal for Frontier Elementary, we were intentionally listening to and reflecting on the feedback from staff. Frontier is a school with strong systems, a solid foundation, and a community committed to supporting every student. So it was important that we found a leader who could honor both that foundation and continue to build upon it. I do want to take a moment to recognize the leadership of the current principal, Katie Rutan. Since 2018, she has built a culture of excellence at Frontier, and we're grateful for the impact that she's had on the school community, and we wish her all the best as she transitions into her new role as the principal of Hunter Elementary. And with that, it's my pleasure to recommend Ms. Jennifer Dunlop as the next principal of Frontier Elementary School. Mrs. Dunlop stood out throughout the process for her strong instructional leadership and her ability to build a positive school culture that drives student outcomes. She currently serves as the Dean of Student Achievement at both Pepperidge and Lake Hazel Elementary Schools, and previously served as a principal intern at Chaparral, Pleasant View, and Willow Creek Elementaries. With 25 years of experience in K-8 education, we know that Ms. Dunlop will be an outstanding leader for the Frontier community. At this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Dunlop to share a few words or answer any questions you may have.
Greetings, Chair Frazier, Vice Chair Zuna, trustees, Dr. Bubb, the executive team. Thank you for this opportunity tonight to introduce myself. I am truly honored and excited to become the next principal at Frontier Elementary and to continue serving the students, staff, and families of West Ada School District. Education, learning, and instruction have always been at the core of who I am. I began my career teaching upper elementary school in Minneapolis. I taught at an international school in Papua New Guinea. Those early experiences shaped my belief in strong, intentional instruction, focusing on growth and learning, and that meaningful relationships are the foundation for student success. In 2007, my family and I returned to Idaho, and I joined West Ada, a place that has become my professional home and my family's community. Throughout my time in West Ada, I have intentionally sought out opportunities to grow as an instructional leader, from the classroom to teacher leadership to Title I support, an administrative intern, and most recently this year serving as the DOSA at Lake Hazel Elementary and Pepperidge. Each experience has deepened my understanding of effective instruction, data-informed decision-making, and the systems and the heart that is needed to support teachers and students. I am passionate about working alongside staff to strengthen instructional practices, supporting in whatever is needed, and building a strong community that ensures high level of learning and value for every single student. I want to sincerely thank Ms. Rutan for her leadership at Frontier and for the strong foundation that she has built. I am grateful for the opportunity to step into a school that has such an amazing positive culture. I also want to acknowledge the communities at Lake Hazel and Pepperidge. It has been a huge privilege this year to learn alongside these teams, and I carry that learning with me into this next role. On a personal level, West Ada has been a home for my family as well. My husband, Tim, and I have watched our children grow in this district. Two of our daughters, Claudia and Tessa, graduated from Rocky and are both away at college. My son, Edwin, is currently a student at Rocky. Experiencing West Ada as both an educator and a parent has truly shaped my perspective and just deepens my commitment for this work. I am incredibly grateful for my family's support. They are my biggest cheerleaders. I pursued the principalship at Frontier because I'm passionate about leading a school where strong instruction, meaningful relationships, and supportive staff culture come together to ensure success for every single student and that is what I've cleared that Frontier is about. West Ada as a system provides incredible opportunities for students, family, and staff. I believe strongly in the collective impact that we can have when we align instructional work, supporting one another, and we focus on what's best for kids. I'm committing to building those relationships, supporting staff, and continuing to grow the culture of growth at Frontier. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I am beyond excited for this, and if you have any questions, I'd love to take them.
We can clap. Well, first and foremost, this back corner, you're invited every time. This is fantastic. And second of all, welcome. We're so excited. The DOSA program has been great. I hope everybody at home is hearing. This program is really developing some phenomenal leaders, and we're so grateful and excited to have you. Can you also invite your family to come up, and anyone you'd like, we'll get a picture.
My teenagers are busy, sorry.
I understand.
Ready?
You're still up.
I'm still up. All right, I'm excited next to share a recommendation for principal of Seven Oaks Elementary. I'd like to begin by recognizing the leadership of our current principal, Allie Wagner. As she embarks on her next adventure, we're incredibly grateful for the impact she had on Seven Oaks community and wish her all the best. As we moved through this interview process, we had the opportunity to meet with several strong candidates, and one candidate truly stood out for this role, and I'm thrilled to be recommending Ms. Shay Davis as the next principal of Seven Oaks Elementary. Mrs. Davis brings 24 years of experience in education. She currently serves as a principal at North Star Charter, and throughout the process, her passion, commitment, and deeply rooted belief in building strong relationships to drive student success was evident. She brings both the experience and the heart for this work, and it's clear that she leads with purpose and care. We're incredibly excited for what Ms. Davis will bring to Seven Oaks. She's an exceptional leader, and we are confident that she's going to have a meaningful and lasting impact on the school community. At this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Davis up to share a few words.
Good evening, Madam Chair Frazier, members of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Bubb, and the executive team. I am so excited to be here tonight. From the moment I hit go on my application, I was all in. I grew up in Washington, where a love of sports and strong family values helped shape my early years. I later moved to Idaho after earning a track scholarship to Boise State. I initially pursued a degree in nursing, but during my junior year, I literally woke up in the middle of the night and said, I want to be a teacher. I discovered my true passion was education. After graduating, I married my husband, Jeff, and together we have 3 amazing children who have always supported me in everything that I do. I am proud to say my family is a West Ada family. Jeff has devoted more than 20 years of teaching high school in West Ada and is currently a teacher and coach at Owyhee. My 2 daughters, Peyton and Josie, graduated from Owyhee and are both doing so well in college. My son, Colt, is currently thriving as a freshman there. Go Storm, and now, go Mustangs. Because of their experiences, I know firsthand the strength of West Ada, the dedication of its people, and the lasting impact strong teachers and leaders have on students, staff, and families. It is a privilege to join your district. Education has always been more than just a profession to me. It's my heart. Since graduating in 2000, serving children has been a calling I have felt deeply. I loved my years in the classroom and I now love being an elementary principal. Through every season of this work, I have never lost sight of the gift and the responsibility we have as educators in shaping young lives. We often actually spend more waking hours with children than anyone else, and that trust is something I hold with great care. While my time at North Star has meant so much to me, I am very excited for my next chapter. When I learned I had been chosen to lead at Seven Oaks, I felt both joy and a very strong sense that this is exactly where I'm meant to be. I would like to thank the current principal, Miss Sally Wagner, for the care, commitment, and leadership she has given to Seven Oaks over the last few years. Her service has made a difference, and I'm sure she will be missed. I'm excited to join the staff of Seven Oaks. Great schools are built by great people, and I know I'm stepping into a community already doing incredible work for their students. I look forward to listening, learning, growing together with them, and serving alongside my new team. As a principal, I'm very committed to working diligently to ensure my staff has what they need to meet the needs of our students. Together, we will build our community, navigate our challenges, and celebrate our many accomplishments. I look forward to being part of something truly special that staff, students, and families are proud to call their school home. One of my deepest values as a leader is building relationships and creating a culture where children always come first. Every student deserves to walk into a school where they feel safe, valued, and known. When students experience that kind of care and connection, they will flourish academically, socially, and emotionally. The sky is the limit. I am excited for all that lies ahead at Seven Oaks. Thank you so much for this opportunity and for the trust you placed in me. I cannot wait to begin my next chapter with you in West Ada. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's actually really kind of ironic. My son and I were talking the other day, he graduated at Waihee, about one of his favorite teachers, and he's sitting to your left. And what was it, military history, I think it was? Yeah, he's a big fan. But no, it's fun to have you join us. Your family has such a great tradition in our school system and in our community. I'm very familiar with North Star. You've done great work there, and we're excited to see what you can do at Seven Oaks. Can we invite your family up and do a picture?
Thank you.
Renee, you are still up. Here we go.
That's right. All right, Chair Frazier, trustees, Superintendent Dr. Bubb, we're going to shift and shine some light on one of our high schools. I'm honored to share our recommendation for the principal of Mountain View High School next. Mountain View is a truly special place within West Ada as our largest high school in the district, serving nearly 2,500 students. This recruitment was unique and an exciting moment for the school. The current principal, Scott Montoya, is preparing to pass the torch as he's about to step into the superintendent role at Caldwell School District. We're incredibly grateful for the leadership and legacy he leaves behind, and we wish Mr. Montoya continued success in his next chapter of his career. I'm pleased this evening to bring forward Ms. Karen Rice as our recommended principal for Mountain View High School. Mrs. Rice joined West Ada in 2015, beginning her career with us at Meridian High School. In 2020, she stepped into the assistant principal role at Lake Hazel Middle School, and in 2021, she transitioned to serve the assistant principal role at Mountain View High School. Throughout her time in these roles, she's demonstrated strong instructional leadership and a deep commitment to student success, and she has proven herself ready to take on the challenge of leading a comprehensive high school. At this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Rice to share a few words, and she'd be happy to address any questions or comments you may have.
Good evening. Madam Chair Frazier, members of the board, Dr. Bubb, and executive team. It is an honor to be here tonight, being recommended to be the next head principal of Mountain View High School. I also want to thank my family, my husband, my boys, and my parents for being here tonight and for all the support that they continue to give me. I want to start by thanking Scott Montoya for his guidance, leadership, and work that he has done in West Ada, specifically at Mountain View High School. I've had the opportunity to be with Scott as both a teacher and an assistant principal. Something that stands out is the way that Scott treats people. You put people first. At Mountain View High School, Scott has achieved much greatness, but what I truly admire about him is his ability to lead cool, calm, and collectedly. Scott, thank you. Thank you for all that you've done for me and for Mountain View High School and the West Ada School District. The Caldwell School District is in good hands, and you will serve greatly as their next superintendent, as West Ada produces incredible leaders. Mountain View High School, you have my heart and my passion. And after 5 years, I know this community is made up of the most amazing students and families. From stinky sneaker to band competitions, our community turns out to support each other, and our students also support one another. The staff at Mountain View is full of love, compassion, energy, and maverick spirit. They lead the district in taking on challenges. They always have a horns up attitude. And our teachers lead the way with standards reference grading, curriculum, committee work, and putting students first. I am grateful and I am humbled to take on this role. Next year, we will focus on two things: culture and strategy. Because culture outperforms strategy every time, but culture with strategy is unbeatable. My promise to all of you is to lead with passion, pride, and energy. And this will take us to the next level. And along the way, we'll have some fun and we'll celebrate what we accomplish together. Let's be unbeatable, Mavs. Thank you again for trusting me with this very important role. With leadership comes great responsibility, and I'm ready to lead the Maverick way. I stand for any questions that you have.
Trustee McCullough.
Okay, we're working now, okay. I just want to take a moment, first of all, to express my gratitude to Mr. Montoya. Gosh, I'm easy to tears, but my heart, he has raised my kids through both middle school and high school. He's been their principal, and I can tell you umpteen stories about his leadership that I've seen as a parent and as a substitute teacher, that I've spent hours and hours and hours in the school with both you and Mr. Montoya. I just want to express my gratitude for the dedication, the heart, and the vision that he carried into West Ada, and he has left a lasting impact and a legacy in West Ada. I'm also very excited to see the impact that he is going to leave in the Caldwell School District at even a bigger level. So thank you, Mr. Montoya, for everything that you've done for my kids personally and also for West Ada, specifically Lake Hazel and Mountain View High School. So thank you. I also am thrilled that we always call her Ms. Rice. And I'm not going to look at your mom because she said that she might get emotional if I look at her. I might cry too. Thrilled to find out that you are the new principal for Mountain View High School. I know that you have a heart of a maverick, and I know that you're going to lead with drive, and you're going to lead with a fresh perspective, and you have new ideas, new opportunities that you're going to bring to us, and we're going to just soar to even higher success. And I'm so excited to see the things that you're going to do with Mountain View High School. And I do have a little Mav that will hopefully be there while you're still principal. So thank you very much. Very excited to have you.
Thank you.
All right. Well said. Can we invite your family up and we'll take a photo?
2, 1.
We have to have one more.
Oh, all the ones.
How you feeling, Renee? Doing well?
So good.
I like it.
Okay, we're going to change things up and we're going to turn over to Renee Sinander. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Frazier, trustees, Superintendent Dr. Bubb. Before I share our next recommendation for the Chief Academic Officer of Student Success, I want to take a moment to recognize an incredible leader and colleague, Mr. Marcus Myers. Mr. Myers has made a lasting impact on West Ada, and while we will certainly miss him, this is also a really proud moment. I've had the privilege of working alongside him, and I'm so excited to see him step into his new role as Superintendent of Kuna School District. Our neighboring community is gaining an exceptional leader, and I have no doubt that he will continue to make a meaningful difference for students, staff, and families. As we approached this transition, we knew how critical this role was to the success of our district. We needed a strong, visionary leader, someone who could collaborate effectively, lead with purpose, and keep student success at the center of every decision. To ensure we found the right person, we partnered with a recruitment firm to conduct a national search. From 20 applicants, the firm brought forward 4 finalists, 2 of which were internal West Ada directors. That in itself is a testament to the strength of leadership we continue to grow and develop within our own organization. Among those finalists, one candidate stood out, and it is my honor this evening to recommend Mr. Cliff Rice as our next Academic Officer of Student Success. Mr. Rice currently serves as our Director of Instruction for secondary schools, where he has developed a deep understanding of teaching and learning and the systems that support it. Through his work, he has demonstrated a clear ability to identify and remove barriers so that student learning and success can thrive. He is passionate, committed, and brings forth an unwavering focus on what matters most: student success. Mr. Rice leads with both heart and purpose, and he brings clarity to complex work, builds strong relationships, and keeps students at the center of every decision. We're incredibly excited for what lies ahead with this division under his leadership. Mr. Rice does have a few words for you this evening and is ready to address any questions or comments you may have.
Good evening, Dr. Bubb, Chair Frazier, Vice Chair Ozuna, Trustees Benetti, Brown, McCullough, and the executive team. Thank you for allowing me to introduce myself as the recommended Chief Academic Officer of Student Success. I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve in this role and to continue supporting our student, staff, and community in impactful ways. I'd like to begin tonight by expressing my sincere gratitude to Marcus for his leadership as Chief Academic Officer of Student Success. Marcus has established a strong foundation, a clear student-centered vision for this work, and I'm grateful for the systems and direction he has put in place as he transitions into his new role as Superintendent of Kuna School District. Thank you, Marcus. My 25-year journey in education has provided me with a well-rounded perspective on student success. I have served as a teacher, an AD, a vice principal, and most recently as Director of Secondary Instruction. Each of these roles have shaped my understanding of how systems, relationships, and instruction come together to create exceptional outcomes for students. As Activities Director, I've learned the importance of building culture, fostering belonging, and holding high expectations for both performance and character. As an assistant principal and principal, I focused on developing strong systems, supporting staff growth, and ensuring that every student had access to a positive and rigorous learning environment. In my role as Director of Instruction, I've worked alongside school leaders to strengthen instructional practice, align those to our district priorities, and use data to drive meaningful improvements in student achievement. Along the way, I've worked with some amazing educators and have experienced success in each of those roles. and I'm committed to continuing that trend in this next role. My leadership is rooted in clarity, collaboration, and action. I believe in setting clear vision, building strong teams, and environments that empower our educators to do their best work. In this new role, my vision is to support our Chief Academic Officer of Teaching and Learning and that team by creating and refining systems that effectively identify and remove barriers to students. This includes strengthening our multi-tiered systems of support, ensuring equitable access to high-quality instruction, and aligning our resources to meet the academic, behavioral, and social-emotional needs of every student. I'm committed to using data to proactively identify challenges, partnering with our school leaders to develop targeted solutions, and continuously monitoring the impact of our work to ensure students receive high-quality Tier 1 instruction. I'm beyond excited to work with the Student Success Team as we continue to support every student in reaching their full potential. I'm also thankful for West Ada investing in me for 25 years and continuing to serve this incredible district. Thank you again for the opportunity to be a servant leader to the students, staff, and community of our great West Ada district. Thank you.
Mr. Rice, it's wonderful to have you in this role. I think we've talked about this before. I have publicly. You were the principal at Owyhee when my son was there, so I had the opportunity to work with you in a lot of different capacities. You do a phenomenal job. Your care for students, your interest in what parents want, your concern for their well-being and for their options, their opportunities, their concerns, their likes, their dislikes, all the things you're there for. I know the applicant pool that existed for this particular position was impressive. There's a lot of talent in West Ada. There's a lot of talent in this room, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm thankful for the development that's been done to assist with that, and I'm very excited to have you this role. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Please bring your family up for a picture. Is there anyone that wants a picture with us? No. Okay. And I will say to everyone that's here tonight, thank you so much. I know we are super exciting and our board meetings are riveting, but if you do have pressing engagements, we understand if you'd like to go.
And there they all go.
We don't have anyone signed up for patron input tonight, so I'll just do what I always do and kind of talk through this. This is an opportunity for anyone to speak to anything that is agendized. You're limited to 2 minutes, and you need to speak to anything that's high level, policy, procedure, that type of thing, never an individual person, staff member, anything like that. So in the future, if that's something that appeals to you, we need you to come before the meeting and sign up for that. With that, we'll move on to consent agenda. I am open to a motion. Trustee McCullough.
I move to approve the consent agenda unanimously.
Is there a second?
I second.
Trustee Brown. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Trustee Benetti?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much. You are all invited every week. That was clapping for consent agenda. That might be my favorite. All right, this takes us to new business. So much better. And we will begin with our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Dave Roberts.
cannot believe people left when the good part is just beginning. So hopefully no tears will be shed during this part. Madam Chair, trustees, Dr. Bubb, this is really a discussion item. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to stop me as we have questions. We're going to talk about some maybe complicated things or confusing things. I'm trying to be as simple as possible, but we're going to start first on, we're going to really talk about how we finance school facilities. Historically in the state of Idaho, there really was only one way to do that, and that was through bonds. We had to go to a taxpayer, ask to pass a levy to build a school, and then the taxpayers would be taxing themselves to pay for that school over time. That is how West Ada has financed all of their schools along the way, or most of their schools along the way. We did have a little bit with plant facility. We've paid for some schools out of plant facility money, but the majority of it was through bonding. 3 years ago, the legislature passed a bill, House Bill 292, and that bill is really focused on property tax relief. So starting in 3 years ago, the way it works is we get money based on sales tax. There's a calculation. It's lottery money went into it, and then it's basically lottery money and sales tax. We're restricted on how that money can be used, and then there's a waterfall effect that when we get it, we have to offset any bond levy that we have on the books. Then we have to offset any supplemental levy, and then we have to offset any plant levy. And if there's any left over, it goes into a fund called the School Facilities Fund. So this has this waterfall effect. We'll get through some more of the details on that here in a second. And then 2 years ago, House Bill 521 was passed, and that was a very big deal. I can't think of the word. A very big deal in Idaho because we had never had help from the legislature before in funding buildings or paying for improvements and things like that. House Bill 521, the state sold $1 billion. I heard the B word already said one time with 3.5 or 3.9 billion in school furniture. But the state sold $1 billion in bonds, and the proceeds of those bonds came to school districts to fund new schools, to fund modernization of schools and things like that. We presented to you a month or two ago on our 10-year plan on how we're going to spend that 521 money and some of their plant facility money. And this is all kind of a continuation of that thought and how we make our dollars go as far as they can go. So hopefully that's not too confusing. We're going to talk about a new item with us. So on the next page, or the next 2 pages, this is from last year's board discussion. I just wanted to kind of review back what 292 is, and I talked a little bit about it. Last year they were expecting about $246 million for bonds. We were going to get between 20 and 30 million. We'll get to that. We got about 33 million out of this. Monies comes to us in August of every year, and then the money is in an order, just as I described before, that we have to offset our debt, offset supplemental levy, offset plant levy, and then the remainder goes into a school facility fund. And at that time when I presented this, I thought we were going to offset all of those. We did in fact, and that's why people in our district get the great distinction of paying $1.47 per $100,000 of taxable value in the state of Idaho, or in West Ada School District. I don't know if hopefully you can see this. This is something I presented to you before, and it's kind of a 10-year look at how the money is going to flow with this. So in the very left column, where it says bond debt service, that is the remainder of our bond debt. We are inside 8 years of we have $1.5 billion of assets that we insure in the district, and we have about $24 million of debt left. So that is a huge amount of equity. We're within 8 years of paying that debt off completely. And so that's first. The next column is the school facilities funding. You can see in fiscal year 26, we received $33.4 million from this. We anticipate that will continue to grow over time. I think I put a 2% growth factor on that. And then in the left, we have to offset supplemental levy and property tax, or plant levy. And so you can see in 2026, we did not levy any because that completely offset that. And then in the first column, the leftover goes to a facilities fund. So in 2026, we had about 3.5 million go to that facilities fund. When I presented this in the past, the concept that we had is that this could be a cash flow that we could use to finance buildings in the future. And in Westdata, maybe never go to our taxpayers again. And never is a long word, maybe is a big word. But the plan is that we would not have to go to our taxpayers to build buildings, and that this appropriation from the legislature would allow us to finance our buildings this way with this remaining money. I showed on the bottom on the term and years, I had examples of an elementary school, middle school, and high school, what the annual debt service would be on that, and showed that this could be a possibility in the future. And we're going to talk about, Dr. Reinhardt's going to talk about two projects that we anticipate recommending to you to finance in a manner using this money. So there's a couple things that needed to happen. One, Dr. Bubb and I met with the State Department, met with leaders to talk about changing the language in 33.911 to be very, very specific that with the school facilities funding, we could use that to execute what's called a lease purchase agreement. It's basically a way to pay for a school over time with a lease purchase arrangement. In the code, with the waterfall effect that we had, that specific language wasn't in there. There was language that we could use it to build new schools, but it was kind of wishy-washy. In another section in 33.911 on plant levy, it was very specific that it said you could do this, you could use these funds to do lease purchase acquisitions. And so the State Department of Education, Representative Galaviz, presented a bill to the legislature this year, and that bill passed the legislative session, which allows us to, you can see in the second part, the third bullet down, used to make payment on lease purchase agreement for school facilities. This is where it gets a little bit different, because in the past, the board has always been used to bonds. So if we execute this lease purchase concept, it's similar to bonds. It operates the same way. We use the same underwriters. We use the same firm that sells the bonds, but they're not called bonds. They're called certificates of participation. We like to call them COPs. We're paying for SROs, so we'll call them COPs here on the deal. So what is a certificate of participation? Because that's a whole new term that we haven't heard before. It's sold in the public marketplace, similar to bonds. We can sell it in various dollar amounts and years. We utilize the same municipal advisor, COP advisor, legal advisors that we've used for our bond sales. And now I'm going to go through that process or kind of a presentation from Eric Herringer, our COP advisor on Westdata. Some of it will be a little bit of a repeat, but I want to go. I'm speaking a lot. Do you guys have any questions yet? It's clear as mud. Okay, so currently on this screen, this shows what we levied. This gets down to our levy for 2026. We didn't levy anything for the supplemental levy. We didn't levy anything from the plant levy, anything from the bond levy. And all we levied was a tort claim and some property tax recapture that is really given. We don't have a choice on those amounts. And that's really the only amount that leads us to our $1.43 per 100,000 of value. In the next page, I have that page twice. There we go. This goes through, this is our current outstanding debt, and then the cash flow of the payments through that. So we currently have 23.6 million in outstanding debt. Those are 5% coupons, and they will pay off completely in 2034. It's only about a $600,000 payment in 2034 was our final principal payment on those debt. The COP analysis that we did here, based on, this was done a month ago or a little less than a month ago, is based on interest rates on March 26th. We're not asking tonight for you to approve this. We'll come back later when we have final numbers if you approve projects to build. We did 10, 15, and 20-year amortization scenarios. And then we've signed them to combine level annual lease payments. So what that means, if we did a 15-year sale, this one's a little bit complicated because our recommendation will most likely be to do the entire CTE building, and that will also reimburse us the cost of that CTE building, and that portion of the COP sale will be a taxable COP, not a tax-free COP. So we'll schedule those to happen first, but basically we'll sell 15 years worth of bonds that will mature every single year over that 15-year period or 20-year period if we choose to go longer. The taxable component was the CTE building. Tax exempt component is the estimated cost currently of Lake Hazel Elementary rebuild, and then the improvements on the CTE building. So on the next slide gives you a little bit of an example of a cash flow. So if we did a 10-year, the rate would be about 3.61%. Annual lease would be about $6.5 million. If we did a 15-year, it'd be a 4.06%. It'd be at $4.9 million. And then a 20-year would be 4.45 at about $4.1 million. When I presented to you guys last summer, I was using a 4.5% interest. So interest rates are a little bit better. We don't know what they'll be in October, but that's what that was done. And then the final page is really just a history of municipal bond interest rates and where they've been and how they came up with those numbers. And that, what did I miss that you don't know? And so this is really a precursor to Dave's presentation on the CTE building and Lake Hazel. And if we think this is the best way to go, I think this part of the thing is this keeps our powder dry on 521 money, makes it last longer for other schools that need some serious remodel work that we can't do this financing. That's one thing to point out is this type of the certificate of participation, we've got to be, the way the law works, you have to be able to walk away from it. We can't walk away from something we already own. So the 521 money will go more towards remodels in some of our older schools that we know we have to get to. This is an opportunity to not use that money and make our monies go for a longer period of time.
Vice Chair Zuna.
Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Roberts. This is really helpful. Can you go back 2 or 3 slides, Mr. Hyde? Right there. Yeah, so on the average annual lease payment, the difference between the around 33 million that we would receive each year would be money then that we can spend on facility maintenance. Is that accurate?
Madam Chair, Trustee Ozuna. So the way, if I go back to this slide here. So what happens is that there's a waterfall of these monies. Currently, the 33 million offsets bond payments, a $14 million supplemental levy and a $16 million plant levy, and leaves about 3.3 million. Once the plant, so the supplemental levy is done in 2026, plant levy is done in 2027. So now the only thing that offsets that 33 million is the 3.5 million of debt. So there's gonna be about $30 million excess. That excess has to be used for school facilities and maintenance. So it's probably we'll have to do some things on the books where we move our custodial and maintenance to be paid out of those money, so we can do that. And then if you look in column, the second to last column, additional amounts for facilities, and this was just done. This is this is what falls out. It doesn't mean, and I'm assuming full plant, full supplemental, that we still kind of offset that with this. And that's the number that we can use for cash flow, this kind of operation.
Great, thank you.
Dr. Bub?
Just a couple clarifications. When you say with the CTE building, it's taxable, it's a tax on us. That doesn't go to our taxpayers. I just want to make sure that is really clear. It's taxable. It's an IRS tax on us as a district. It's a taxable purchase, not taxable onto our taxpayers. Am I correct?
Madam Chair, trustees, Dr. Bub, no. So bonds are sold, they're taxable bonds and tax-free bonds. So if I invest in a bond, I buy a $10,000 bond, I can buy a bond that I have to pay tax when I get paid interest on that, or I can buy a tax-free bond when the bond pays me interest, I don't have to pay tax. Generally, with West Ada, with the bonds we've issued, they are all tax-free bonds. So when our investors buy these bonds, and they buy $50 million worth of bonds, when we pay interest on that, it's tax-free to them. We're paying the interest, but it's tax-free income to them on their tax return. Because we own the CTE building and we're reimbursing ourselves for that, and we didn't have a reimbursement request that the board just approved in place, those bonds will be taxable to the buyer of the bonds.
Perfect. I just want to
But
be
it's
clear.
not a property tax.
This is not
or
a
additional
property tax. This is not something that goes
No.
against
No.
two different taxes. All the tax stock, we get confused. I want to make sure we're clear on that. And the other thing I was going to ask, do you know what our total assets are?
Our total, so the assets that we
District-wide?
insure, the value of our buildings are $1.5 billion.
So we have $1.5 billion, and what is our total debt right now?
23.6 million.
23.6 million?
Correct.
That's pretty incredible. And I will give you a lot of credit for it. I'll give Jonathan a lot of credit for it. A history of fiscal responsibility within West Ada, but that's pretty incredible. There's not I don't know of any business out there. People say all the time, if education ran more like a business, I don't know of too many businesses that could say they have that ratio.
Agreed. So Trustee Benetti and I sit on Finance and Facilities Committee, and so we've been looking at this for a year, really. I had the opportunity to testify for 521. I was there when 292 was discussed. I was there, 626, when Dr. Bob testified to that. It's really a phenomenally creative way to fund schools. And it's important. I want anybody listening, I want taxpayers to understand, this is at no new cost to taxpayers at all. This is something our legislature has done this year. There wasn't a lot of money to throw around, and this is a way for us to fund buildings and fund maintenance that's fantastic. When I think about the presentation you've just given us and the COP, I mean, really, I think of it pretty, plainly. I think it's really a backstop. I mean, what we're doing is get this in place, so then as we purchase new buildings, or if we build or whatever, we have the opportunity to offset that with that waterfall, with that 292 money, so that 521 stays, because 521 is allocated a little differently. It has to be used a certain way, and it's in a pot, and then 292 money is in a pot. Does that make sense? I mean, we basically have two different places that we can pull money from. I think it can get confusing to people, but I think the most important thing to recognize is no new money. I mean, $1.43, 47 is where it stays, which is amazing. So your $15 or less that you're paying for school funding won't change. And we will have the ability to build schools and fix schools and do amazing things. So this is because of you and all of the work your team does and the district does. This is Dr. Bubb and the leadership he's had and the impact over the last almost 6 years now. It's incredible. I've never heard of a district in this kind of spot. It's amazing. So thank you. Thank you very much. Are there any other comments or questions? Trustee Brown?
Can you give me, Dave, can you give me an example of what kind of institutions are purchasing the COPS or these certificates?
Madam Chair, Trustee Brown, that generally the market is going to be, our underwriter will go after that market, but a lot of times it's insurance companies, it's pension funds, it's mutual funds, all usually pretty big institutional investors. There can be individuals that buy them as well. They're on the market, but generally it's institutional investors that want that kind of debt. And it's a little bit. This will be interesting, and if you guys want to, we can have a quorum if you approve this process to go watch the sale. It's fascinating to do that, but because we'll have taxable bonds and we'll have tax-free bonds, there'll be two different markets for that are looking for their investors. But a lot of times it's just big institutional investors.
Thank you.
Dr. Bob?
Yeah, I'll just say really quick, you celebrated Representative Galaviz, and she was instrumental in making this happen, but I also want to say the bill was co-sponsored by Speaker Moyle. I also know that Jason Monks, Representative Monks was part of that, and Trig Burnt carried it on the Senate side. So a lot of people put their heads together to make this happen, and thankful to the State Department and Debbie Critchfield and her leadership that allowed this to happen. So, yes.
Any other comments or questions? All right, thank you so much. You know, we're gonna take just a quick 5-minute break. It's been an hour and a half. Like, we'll take a second and come back. So we'll, if that's all right, yeah, we'll break at 7:30. We'll rejoin open session at 7:40. We would like to invite Dr. David Reinhardt up, our Chief Operations Officer, to present to us on a recommendation for Lake Hazel Elementary School.
Madam Chair, Board of Trustees. As you know, with the Long Range Planning Committee, we monitor growth, we monitor developments, we monitor change within the district throughout all of our zones. We have done so in the south of our school district, and I would like to welcome Director Miranda Carson to talk about the work we've done in monitoring that growth and what we're noticing, and then I'll bring a proposal to address that growth.
Thank you, Dr. Reinhardt. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board and executive team, for allowing us to present an update on the South. I want to start just by orienting you to the map. So this is the West Ada School District, south of the interstate. There is more that continues south. You'll see there in the green. Our district spans all the way from I-84 to Canyon County and then down through the Birds of Prey area. We do have significantly more area there in the southeast than some people realize, but we do have kids that are already out there. With this map, the white dots are our current West Ada students. You might be able to see that there's a couple already out there on that Cunamora Road down in the southeast. The blue polygons that you see there are entitled developments. So what that means is a developer went to a land use agency and they said, I want to build 100 homes. And the land use agency said, okay, you can build 90 homes. So that's 90 entitled developments. Those are developments that have been approved and development will come from it, and we know students will come out of those. Those are residential developments. They're colored based on the number of units, residential units that will come out of those. So a residential unit is one home, one apartment complex, one home or one apartment. That's what a unit is. It's a space that a family would live in when we're looking at those things. So you can see we've got a lot of development happening in the south. There, south of the interstate, we have developments coming, a little bit of infill in Pepper Ridge, but for the most part, the developments are really coming through Mary Mac, Lake Hazel, and Silver Sage. And so we needed to look at south of the interstate, what we can do to provide some relief with the current students that we have and with the developments that are coming in those school boundaries. So we have a model that we put our developments into. We use a SchoolSci Pro ArcGIS geographic modeling system to look at our developments. We look at what kind of student generation rates historically we've seen out of developments in different areas in the district from different types of developments. We look at birth rate data. We look at the mobility, how many kids are moving in and out of West Ada. We have a lot of factors that go into the model so that we can model out how many kids we think we might have from West Ada so that we can grow responsibly. So based on that model, you can see here the students that are enrolled and projected. The 25-26 counts are the counts as of last week for how many students we have in those schools in West Ada. The students enrolled and projected are using that model for the years beyond 27-28. Red are schools that are over capacity. So you can see we already have Chaparral, Hillsdale, and Mary McPherson over capacity. You might ask yourself why Chaparral and Peregrine are on that map. Those two schools, while they are north of the interstate, they do have boundaries that dip south of the interstate, and so they do school students who live south of the interstate. So we wanted to get a full picture of what the need is. So we've got, between those three schools in 27-28, about 620 students that will be over capacity in those three schools. Peregrine will be able to support Chaparral to an extent and help. It will also be able to relieve somewhat some of the schools in the south, especially with the Linda Road overpass coming and cutting through over the interstate. We'll be able to get kids safely bused across. Parents will be able to drive. Families, if they choose, will even be able to walk straight over the interstate on that overpass and get to Peregrine Elementary. So they'll be able to relieve the south, but we still need some help in the south. So even with Peregrine relieving the south and Chaparral, we've got students that will be over capacity by the year 29-30. So we would need to make boundary adjustments for 27-28, regardless of whether we had new seats, but we would need more seats by 29-30, and by 2030-32 school year, we project that we need around 223 additional seats. So that's looking at the schools, how many seats are in K-12 and how many students we think are coming from K-12. Does anybody have any questions on this data or the maps before we move on to look at some possible solutions? All right, if not, I will turn it back over to Dr. Reinhardt.
Thank you, Miranda. Because of this need for additional seats, the Long Range Planning Committee and staff considered sites in the area that might address the growth and give us the extra seats that we need to provide for elementary students. I'll point out with a later slide how we're addressing middle school and high school growth in the south. These three stars represent the properties West Ada School District owns in this area, and among other schools we own, but two of these are vacant. And we also talked to private parties who may have been interested in land donation. They ultimately had too many site concerns, and so we turned our attention back to what we own. I'll start with the Blue Valley site in the northernmost portion of this area. Blue Valley is a wonderful plot of land. It is on Linder and Overland. It has been thought of as an elementary site for a number of years, maybe a decade. And its limitation now is that with the Linder overpass, so in a year, there will be an overpass at Linder Road, will be 0.6 miles from another elementary school. To give you context, the closest we have in terms of elementary schools next to each other is 1.5 miles we have between Frontier and McMillan, with 1.6 between Pleasant View and Willow Creek. When you get much closer than that, eventually you struggle to fill those schools up because they're a little too close, and the next board would have to adjust things again. And so that was one of the possibilities we looked at with other groups. I'm going to call it the 10-mile site. So the school district owns approximately 60 acres at 10 Mile and Amity. It has been thought of long-term by the school district as a possible site for a high school at some point, and perhaps an elementary school as well. That particular site will serve the school district well, likely, in the future. The challenge with it is that utilities are still miles away from it, and bringing utilities to that site ultimately would cost millions of dollars. The common wisdom in a situation like that is to let the developments bring those utilities closer, and at that point then we would need that site there anyhow, and our costs would be less. And so we considered that site, and ultimately decided that the opening was too late, and that our need for giving people relief is much sooner than 2029 or even 2030. The other site that we considered was to take a look at Lake Hazel Elementary. As you look at that map, it's not obvious at first why Lake Hazel Elementary makes sense. But if you look to the south at that two dark blue developments, the darker the blue, the more the homes. And so as those come online, one of those will have 3,000 homes, eventually the other 2,700 homes eventually. All of a sudden, we've always thought the growth was going west. Now the growth is going south and west. Lake Hazel is uniquely positioned in this situation, in this way. I'm going to click. There we go. Ultimately, the Long Range Planning Committee and the Finance and Facilities Committee, the latter being sat on by Chair Frazier and Trustee Benetti. I'm struggling with clicks here. Took a look at this particular school, noticed that it's our second highest facility needs score in the school district. It has major needs over the next 5 to 10 years, most of those being relatively soon. The all cost in at about $7.8 million. The other piece that's a challenge to the current Lake Hazel is the particular floor plan, which I'll show you in a minute, is a challenge for classroom space. And Lake Hazel Road is being expanded to 5 lanes, landing that road in the middle of our parking lot. So that yellow stripe represents the southernmost boundary of where that road is going to end up in approximately 2 years. Just brings that particular building close enough to that busy road that we have concerns. We can build a parking lot off to the side for sure, and ACHD has talked about helping us do that. However, you end up in a site that's already challenged for parking, and our principal is here, and she'll tell you that parents are parking at the church across the road and next to us. There's a lot of dashing across the road and cutting through the forest to get to school, which are not situations we like to have our students in. Sure will. Click. Perfect. Pause. You'll notice these pie shapes on the left-hand side. This particular school was built in a time where we thought that we were going to slide back all the walls and have open classrooms, which was innovative at the time, I suppose, but it's not how we teach now. What we've ended up with are classrooms that are about 100 square feet less than our smallest square footage classrooms in the district. And you see the star in the toilet. I mean, it's kind of an odd symbol, but it's meant to point out that a student in classroom A, where the star is, often has to travel through classroom B to get to the bathroom. And so you've not only, we've heard wonderful things about student achievement, student learning today, and we really have a setup there that is not ideal for that. It's not only small, it's dark, and there's a lot of distractions that tend to happen in that area. The proposal we'll bring to you tonight is to expand the capacity of Lake Hazel Elementary School, adding an additional 250 seats to accommodate the growth Miranda pointed out. This is a diagram done by the architects who have partnered with us to design and to conceptualize what this may look like. This is essentially the design. If you've toured Independence Elementary School, it is that design. What would happen ultimately is that if the board should choose to permit us to design and develop this particular proposal tonight, we would initiate a more serious design. We would look at all options in this design. This, again, is a space study in many ways. We would make sure that it was within the price range that Chief Financial Officer Dave Roberts spoke of tonight for the certificates of participation. So it's a new way of financing it. And once that design is complete and the bids are gained, we would then return to you with a guaranteed maximum price for your final signature. Our goal, and it's an aggressive goal, is to get to work on this tomorrow and press towards a fall of 27 opening so that we can relieve Hillsdale, we can begin to relieve Mary McPherson, and we can improve this school environment for our Lake Hazel Elementary students. We anticipate this cost would come in at approximately $23.2 million. But again, we will keep you posted as those bids come in and we bring them back to you. Click. So what does this look like? Over the next 6 months, the school design would deepen to the point of construction drawings. The site would deepen with construction drawings. We would be before ACHD in Ada County. This is within Ada County's purview. And to work on permits, we would begin boundary planning in the fall with the Long Range Planning Committee because we want to open the 27th school year with new boundaries, and there would be a shovel in the ground in September of 26, so 4 months from now. I didn't do the math. 4 months. Over the next 5, and really this is not a solution. We're not presenting you. This is the final thing that will ever happen in the South. This is the last word in the South. We know that it's going to keep going west, and we've always talked about there's kind of a banana around the outside of the district that we're going to have to address. But over the next 5 to 8 years, this will address elementary growth in this rebuild. We'll take care of those people in the South. We can address some other areas of growth near Hillsdale. We can also go west and accommodate the growth that's going along Lake Hazel Road. It becomes a long boundary that direction, but Miranda being the director of planning and the director of transportation, we have an advantage there. Middle school capacity has been expanded through the Lake Hazel Middle School remodeling project, and that particular building will have 6 more classrooms now, and so more students, so we can help begin to relieve Victory Middle School. And so we'll have 2 nicely sized middle schools in that area that are great educational environments. And then high school capacity will be expanded through what I'll present next, the CTE Center at Locust Grove. Click. Myself and Miranda stand for any questions, and we can certainly go back slides because there are many details here you might want to look at.
Any comments or questions? Trustee Brown?
Will the current, 2026 school year, will students still be at Lake Hazel Elementary?
Madam Chair, Trustee Brown, that is correct. Boise School District has done this about 4 times recently, and we choose a contractor that is skilled at working with the principal to make sure everybody has plenty of room to play, people have room to circulate, and they have room to do construction all at the same time. And it's really a carefully orchestrated process, but it can be done, and it is done on the regular basis. But there'll be no interruption to classrooms.
Trustee McCullough?
Do we know how many, what is the projected capacity for the new build? Did you tell me and tell us and I missed it?
We're projecting it to be our independent school is 700 students. We're going to build it for 800 students, which is 8 classrooms more.
Okay, and how many elementary school boundaries will be affected? Do we know?
You want to talk about it?
Madam Chair, Trustee McCullough, thank you. So elementary boundaries, we're going to look at all of the elementaries south of the interstate. They haven't had boundary adjustments in, I think, 7 to 8 years. So we know that the students that are in those schools now haven't been through a boundary adjustment period, which gives us an opportunity to really shift boundaries without impacting students more than once at this point. So we'll be looking at most of the schools that we put up on that table, if not all, to see where we can shift boundaries to make better sense with the geographic changes that have come and the developments that have come.
So we don't know.
I think that there's 6 or 7 elementaries south of the interstate, if I had to add them up. Yes.
Vice Chair Zuna?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a couple questions for Miranda and a couple for Dr. Reinhardt. You can stop me at any time. Does that sound fair? Okay. Thanks, Ms. Carson. First, I want to give my complete support for something happening at Lake Hazel. That school is in desperate need of repairs. And when we look at, do we do a major remodel there, especially given all of the other situations with road and other things, or do we look at a rebuild? I think that recommendation makes a lot of sense. I've been challenged a few times when I look at the map and I look at the numbers and then I see where the kids are situated with how it makes sense for a boundary adjustment with Lake Hazel with, right now we have schools over capacity, that are to the west of that. And can you tell me, with the work that you've done and with the permanent boundary committee that we have, and I don't want you to give me a map because I really respect the work of the boundary committee process, but have you put paper to pencil and kind of looked at those numbers, and can you make a boundary or multiple options make sense, including the feeder school overlay?
Madam Chair, Trustee Azuna, yes, so I look at the model at least once a week, if not more often, and go in and see what shifts are possible so that we can make educated decisions like this. So I have gone in and looked at several different options for what boundaries might look like in the south. And I will say that with the additional space at Lake Hazel Middle School and with this elementary school coming, we can relieve Victory Middle because we would need to adjust the feeder patterns because we want to keep those peer groups together. So with this Lake Hazel L coming to the east, we could adjust the middle school feeder patterns as well so that more students come over to Lake Hazel Middle, and it just naturally alleviates some of the crowding that we might not be feeling at Victory yet, but we'll be feeling in the next few years.
Thanks. And as a precursor to what's coming for Dr. Reinhardt related to that timeline, hold on, I have a question for Miranda first since I have her, but related to that timeline is very aggressive. If we did not hit that timeline, it looks to me like 3 of those schools need relief for certain, regardless of whether we have that school ready in 2027. Would there be a way to still provide relief for those 3 schools that are so far over capacity in 2027, regardless of whether or not that new build is ready?
Trustee Azuna, yes. So if you can recall the table, I know I've looked at it so many times, so it's just right there in my head, but if you can recall the table, we still are at the 0 seats needed for 27-28, so we can make those shifts and still be within the seats that we have and the students that we have projected for 27-28. We can make those boundary changes and still put the students in the current Lake Hazel L if we needed to. There is room at the current Lake Hazel L for where we would open the school. Does that answer the question?
It does.
Okay.
Thank you. Dr. Reinhardt, I can't even imagine us really building a school in a year, but that's super exciting if we can make that happen. And I have full confidence in the team's ability to do that. But if we encounter roadblocks, because occasionally that happens in big projects like this, what's next? What happens next? What's the plan for that?
Madam Chair and Trustee Ozuna, it is aggressive. We have been transparent with our architects and contracting community, and we'll be interviewing contractors, and we'll set that as a part of the requirement. That being said, we'll always have contingencies, as all construction projects have contingencies. We're replacing 5 roofs this summer. We're doing a number of parking lots. We do a lot of things, and we always have a contingency plan because the dials we can control, we will, and we will always seek to not interrupt education at all. And I would just say this anecdotally. A recent contractor that built a school for us, or is building a school for us, said to me the other day, unprompted, he said, "You gave us 14 months to build this." He said, "We could build this in 11. And so that was, again, a great winter. That was the stars aligning. But I believe in our community, and I believe in my team that will constantly drive that momentum forward, because ultimately we need that for the students. So contingency planning will always be taking place, but our primary effort will be to cut a ribbon in August of 27.
Do you and the team that you work with, will you have as much confidence in your contingency plan as you do in the ability to get it open on time? Complete confidence. You'll go into
Absolutely.
it with complete confidence on
Absolutely.
the contingency plan.
Absolutely.
Okay, great, thank you.
Other questions? Trustee McCullough? Just a second, David. Trustee McCullough?
Well, I just want to say that I drove through the Lake Hazel Elementary school zone today when school was being let out. So I did see firsthand all the cars parked at the church across the street and the church next door, the Catholic church, and there were cars on the road. And it was, I really felt for all those parents who are picking up their children. I know that it's something that's definitely needed. And then I did take a look at how big the field is behind the school. And my son has practiced soccer on that field, and I've walked that little track that you guys have many times. But I'm actually really excited about the potential of building a new school, especially since Lake Hazel has so many repairs to be made anyway. I feel like that seems fiscally responsible. So I'm excited to see. I'm a little nervous with the boundary changes because this affects me personally, and I live right over there, but I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with, and you have my full support.
Trustee Benetti?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and hopefully I'm coming through okay. I think that one thing that's important to bring to everyone's attention is that we are reusing existing plans for a school that you and I just were able to tour, Trustee Frazier, and to see that come up and to realize that they've had a dry run and they're going to be able to do the same thing working off of the same plans. So I think the concerns and the contingency planning have to happen. Absolutely, of course, that always needs to be the case. But I don't think that we should discount the fact that, they've had a dry run. And so a lot of the things that would normally be surprises on projects that are completely new from scratch, many of those are going to be obviated because we're working from existing plans. And that is not only prudent and smart from a fiscal responsibility perspective, the advantage that gives us to be able to increase the quality and reduce the time, boy, that's just a win-win-win. So I don't want to discount that, and I appreciate the thoughtfulness of the facilities team for doing that. Fairly, I think, still fairly innovative and really a really good approach. Because boy, walking through Independence Elementary, it's really nice, and I think that it would. I know that Lake Hazel Elementary loved their school, but given the fact that the construction is going to be coming in with the road regardless, it is in desperate need of facilities improvement, and knowing what's being put into place in Star, if they have an opportunity to replicate that in the South, boy, that would be a great thing. So this does have my support.
Other comments or questions? All right, thank you so much. I could chime in, but honestly, the questions have been asked, the comments have been made. What Trustee Benetti just said, I concur. With that, I'm open to a motion. Trustee McCullough?
Sorry.
You okay?
I move that the West Ada School District Board of Trustees authorize the superintendent, or his designee to proceed with the design, bidding, and project development for the expansion of Lake Hazel Elementary School.
Is there a second? Trustee Brown?
I second.
Any discussion? All right, seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Trustee Benetti?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much. Right, now we will move on to a recommendation for the CTE building at Locust Grove. Dr. Reinhardt.
Madam Chair, trustees, Dr. Bob, 11 months ago, you bought this building for $12.8 million with the great vision that it would someday serve our students with CTE programs and expand our high school capacity for career and technical education in the district. We have held off a bit because we wanted to find a creative way to finance this through the COP process and to make sure that was all aligned and written into law. And so now with that in place, I come to you with Director Will Shoemaker, who's going to give us a vision for CTE in our district and show how this particular building fits in. And then I'm going to talk about the actual proposal.
Good evening, Chair Frazier, trustees, Dr. Bubb. Well, anytime I get the podium, I always want to take a chance to talk about CTE, but really what I want to do here in the next few slides is talk about CTE today, CTE looking back a little bit, and then what we did, steps to plan for the future. And so CTE right now, we are excited that we have about over 8,000 students that access career technical education in West Ada, high school students. 1,100 of those are capstone students, and those students we anticipate will are on track to receive their CTE diploma. CTE diploma means that they have completed their evidence of the workforce readiness assessment, the technical skills assessment, they've completed their skills stack badges, and then of course they'll graduate from our West Ada schools. We have about 180, close to 190, over 190 CTE staff across West Ada. We have 29 industry-aligned certificate options that students will leave West Ada and be able to walk into the workforce with those options. 34 concurrent credit options, and we have, as you can see, there are 92 active industry partners that partner with us in a variety of ways. 238 seniors enrolled in on-site. So we have lots of, for example, many of you have visited our advanced culinary facility for lunch, but then we have also students that participate in workforce readiness experiences off-site as well. And then we have over 1,000 students that have completed the workforce readiness assessment this fall. And then between the funding that we get from state and federal funding, we get about $3.5 million in funding, plus the funding that's generated for our FTE. This is some data that I'm actually the most excited to share with you. We each year follow up with our graduates. So these are our 2025 graduates from last spring. And those graduates, we knew that last spring, 98% of them graduated high school. So they were CTE capstone completers, and 98% of them walked across the stage. Those students then went somewhere. And lots of times in education, we know that students go and impact our community in lots of different ways, but we don't always know exactly what they're doing. So what we do each year is we do follow-up data. And so we have about 1,100 students that we follow up with. Where are they in college? Are they in the workforce? Are they in a service program? Are they in the military? And so we actually call them. Our teachers follow up with them. They email them. A lot of our teachers stay in contact with our capstone students because lots of times they're in workforce, they're in college, and they've had them for multiple years in high school, so they've developed close relationships. So of the students that we followed up with, 99.2% are in one of the following. They're in post-secondary training, education, they're currently employed in the workforce, 7.9% are in a service program, and 2.7% are in military, but 99.2% are doing one of those things. And then also exciting that we have continued momentum in alternative education. That's been a big push. We have 39 students that are still enrolled in CTE courses and are enrolled have signed up for courses for next year, so they're continuing that pathway. And then from Meridian and Eagle alternative schools, we have 102 students that have requested CTE courses for next year, which is way up from what we've seen over the last few years. So those are some exciting things of today. Now I want to talk a little bit about how we are utilizing that data and the momentum that we have in CTE to plan for the future. And so some of the excitement has been around Over the last few years, really, if those of you that recall, a plant facility levy was attempted, and on that was a CT center near the Waihi campus. That was going to allow us to expand programming in CTE, and it was built out to about 100,000 square feet. With the recent purchase of the CT center off of Locust Grove, that will be our third CT Career Technical Center, one at Meridian High School, one at Renaissance High School, and now the one off of Locust Grove. We will be able to, we have really the question of, now what? What programs could we offer? What programs do we currently have? What community needs do we have? What industry needs do we have? And so I'm throwing some data up on the board for you. And so what we did actually is we backed up and we looked at the Boise Metropolitan occupational data. And they put out each year a list of careers or occupations that are in the Boise metropolitan area. And on that list, there were 580 occupations. We took that list and we cross-referenced it to our current pathways and identified that there was about 380 that were directly aligned, and then there were about 192, and I think my math's off there, but 192 in which they were not directly aligned. So we took those 192 that were not directly aligned to a current pathway, and we started to deep dive a little bit more into those and went, okay, what opportunities could we be serving our community with and our students with that don't currently exist? We took that list, and then we also brought together a Workforce Development Council Summit. Trustee Frazier was there, Dr. Bubb was there, many members of executive team. We came together with members of our industry, members of our community, and we began the discussion of what are the needs that we're maybe not aware of or that are out there that we could help to serve our community and our industries locally. Some of our goals in CTE are that we know that we have high quality programs, and we know that if we can offer students a path towards college and career, likelihood that they're going to be able to stay in our valley and stay in Idaho is pretty good. We're going to have our students that want to come back because now they have a place, they have an investment in our community. So off the top, we saw that there were some pathways that didn't directly align, such as HVAC. And so there's some numbers directly to the right there. The 1,890 are the total number of job opportunities in HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, in the Boise metropolitan area. Now, those are not necessarily unfilled. There's probably people filling those vacancies. There's probably unfilled vacancies, but overall, there's 1,890 opportunities. The median pay is $58,620. And then you can start to go down through there. So if you're an electrician, there's 2,350 opportunities. Plumbing, 2,060, and you can see the median pay that follows with that. Cosmetology, there's 1,040. And cosmetology is interesting because it can actually, it's listed as cosmetology, but there's other professions that can go into that as well. And then dental assisting at that over 1,000. Military sciences, that one's a little bit harder to track how many actual occupations because that's really by the federal government. So that one's a little more challenging, but we know there's a need. Semiconductor technician with the ID1 that's coming on board, that's being constructed at Micron. We know that, and actually close to a dozen different companies that have semiconductor or some kind of a technician program in their company. We know there's a need for technicians that understand automation and robotics throughout the valley. And there's 500 plus opportunities with a median salary of $72,000. And then cybersecurity was also one we've already implemented that. That program has already began to be implemented through West Data. But we also know there's robust career opportunities in cybersecurity. So what we then did is we took that data and we went, okay, now what do we do? And we started to look at all the programs that we offer and then what we don't offer, what the feedback was that we got at the Workforce Development Summit. And then last year, we worked with an architecture firm to walk through every single CTE facility across our district. And so we did a facilities audit and looked at what are our current programs, are there facilities that are meeting the needs, and are there areas for improvement? So I took all of that data together, and then we began to make some put together some thoughts about what areas need to be addressed and what areas could we add programs that could serve our community. So what we came up with, and there's going to be some movement here that I hope I can explain in a way that makes sense. First of all, through the facility assessment, we identified 3 pathway areas that currently exist that, because of the facility, while the facilities certainly serve their purpose currently, they do create some limitations in that program area. The first one is welding. And one of the other big limitations in CTE, unfortunately, is facilities and the amount of students that we can enroll in that program. Welding is definitely at the top of that list. It's a very popular program. We have a lot of students that sign up for it, and we typically end up with a wait list. That also is another area where we identified through that walkthrough and that facility audit a facility limitation that we could possibly correct. Power sports is another one. We've moved that program from small gas engines and pivoted it towards power sports. Power sports directly aligns with what's happening in industry. Small gas engines was more of a limiting or a little bit of an outdated program, so we've moved and pivoted that program. But that facility was built for small gas engines. It wasn't built for power sports. And with power sports, really talking about taking an ATV, putting it on a lift, and working on an ATV, a four-wheeler, a UTV, motorcycles, and still they need to have an understanding of two-cycle engines with lawn equipment as well. That facility also had limitations. And then the third facility that had some limitations was residential construction. We have 2 teachers in there. That facility was really designed for 1 teacher. With the plan to create a career technical center at Hawaii High School, that part of that program had already been moved over to Hawaii, and you may or may not know this, but out back there's an asphalt pad that's been laid. They have a job trailer that students meet in and construct projects there. It works and gives students some exposure to what happens in industry, but it has its limitations as well. We also don't have a facility to address HVAC, plumbing, electrical. So the first thing we did is identified those 3 areas as potential programs that we could, through facilities, we could address multiple things. One way we could expand the program to offer more seats for welding, power sports, residential construction. We can design a facility that meets the needs of today's students, today's learners, and what's happening in industry. So welding I'm going to use that as an example. Right now we have welding at Meridian Career Technical Center. We have beginning welding, which are sophomores, juniors, and seniors. So beginning, intermediate, and advanced. That all happens out of the Meridian Career Technical Center off of the Meridian High School campus. We also have welding happening at Hawaii High School. So in the back, inside the building, there's a welding facility with a exhaust system. They weld inside the school, and while it does serve its purposes, it's another facility that has limitations. We can only enroll so many students, about 24 students in that facility, where typically we're usually shooting for closer to about 28 students per section. So our proposal is to take that beginning welding out of the Meridian Tech Center, out of Hawaii, put it into one facility. That will then allow for our 2 teachers to be in there full-time all day long teaching beginning welding. All of beginning welding will then be out of the Locust Grove Career Technical Center. Once they complete beginning welding, then we will transition them to intermediate and advanced welding at the Meridian Career Technical Center, where we'll have 2 teachers as well. That will expand capacity both in beginning welding and in our intermediate advanced. And I won't say it's a substantial increase, but it really kind of cleans up that pathway. It allows us to put it under one roof. Right now, the other situation that's happening in welding is we have to drop off the metal, and they're big 24-foot long sticks. They put it on a trailer, the teachers do, and they transport it over to Hawaii High School because of the challenge of offloading that material with from a large provider. And so that's another problem that we're finding solutions to. So that's one solution. Power sports then the proposed solution is bringing it from Meridian Career Technical Center, taking it over to Locust Grove, putting in a facility where we actually have we'll have 10 designed lifts, which we're going to see the plans here shortly. They will be able to put equipment up on lifts. They will be able to put students into groups. Those students will work on community projects in a facility that actually mirrors what's happening in industry. Residential construction, again, like I've said, it's another program that's split between 2 locations. The challenges with that is we now have materials in both sides. We have teachers split between 2 locations. And so getting it all under one roof, expanding it and making it bigger so they can bring in projects like our tiny home, which we build for the Veterans Chamber of Commerce. That is a project that we can't construct in our current facilities because we don't have a door that's large enough to actually bring in that tiny home. It's not, they're too tall for that facility. With the Locust Grove Center, it has big doors on it. So we can now bring in larger projects. We could build modular walls and actually take them and load them onto a semi-truck and put them out onto a foundation. The possibilities are more endless by moving residential construction over. It also gives us the opportunity to integrate and enhance residential construction with HVAC, electrical, and plumbing. When I say enhance, because we are really cognizant of the reality of that in CT, we have to have instructors to teach these programs. So we're envisioning a program in which students would be exposed to framing, electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. And so they'd be exposed to all of those. Right now, they're really just exposed to framing and house systems of the roof system and the wall system. So that would expand those programs. So those programs would be relocated to Locust Grove, the Locust Grove Center from Renaissance Tech Center and the Meridian Tech Center. I'm gonna pause there to make sure I'm tracking with everybody. Any questions? All right. And then it's really the exciting work of what are the other possibilities. So out of that workforce development, out of that metropolitan data, we then identified programs that our community and our students, through student surveys, I forgot to mention that as well, and parent surveys, identified as other programs that would be of interest. One of the other awarenesses that I think is important is when we talk about expanding capacity, one of the ways that we can expand capacity is by providing a larger variety of programs that we offer. Cosmetology is a really great example of this. This is a program in which students can gain hours towards certification in their high school. We can also do live client work where community members could come in and have their hair done. At some point, that would be the vision. That program accesses a whole different student than a lot of our programs do. And so that one's really exciting to me because I think we're going to be able to attract students into CT that may just not, they're not going to sign up for welding, they're not going to sign up for auto tech, they're not going to sign up for graphic design. So now we open up the possibilities and expand programming and opportunities for students that way. Dental assisting. Dental assisting is another exciting opportunity. ISU, Idaho State University, has a dental hygiene program in Pocatello. They are looking to expand that program to the Meridian location right here attached to Renaissance High School. They have approached us about partnering with them as well. So they want to build a facility. It's $3.5 million because it's a full dental suite that's extremely expensive. What this would allow us to do would be able to partner with ISU and be able to use their facility, and our students could have a shared experience. We do that already with ISU, in which we have a memorandum of understanding with them, and we partner with on culinary and other pathways. And so there's an exciting opportunity there to offer dental assisting. Students could get the first 2 years with us or a year, and then be able to transition to ISU with their dental hygiene program or go into the workforce. And then another exciting opportunity is military sciences with our JROTC program. So cosmetology would go at Locust Grove, dental assisting would go at Renaissance here, and the military sciences will go at the Meridian Career Technical Center. And that the shift there is we have a animal science pathway there. That program we're actually shifting towards veterinary technician. And so that's another industry feedback we've gotten, and it also allows students to leave high school with the certification in veterinary tech. They would be able to then enroll in that program. We're going to shift that vet tech program to the current power sports, and that program, the current power sports, the current small gas engine facility can be with just a few with moving out the small gas engines program, with a few minor changes, we can bring in the veterinary science. You can envision kennels for animals that we could have client work, and that happens at many, when you tour CT centers across the nation, that's the kind of things that CT centers do. And so we want to have the opportunity to actually have a live client work, be able to bring in and have a spay neuter clinic right out of that program. So that military sciences would then go where animal science currently is. So that's all the moves, if hopefully I'm tracking with everybody. And then our program alignment. We have taken plant sciences, and that's been a pathway that has kind of struggled historically, and we've aligned it towards a greenhouse pathway, and there will be a new industry certification that we're onboarding this next year. Animal science, as I mentioned, we're moving it towards a veterinary technician pathway. That you'll start to see that change. It's already been approved at the state, and that change will start happening next year. Our pre-engineering pathway is a very popular pathway, but there's alignment also in that pathway in which we're looking at. One of the opportunities in pre-engineering is also bringing having an alignment for semiconductor technician. And so we have students that might be interested in pre-engineering, they might be more on the semiconductor side of things, so we could get them on a path towards semiconductor technician. They could then go to work for a local manufacturing company and work towards their bachelor's degree in engineering if that's what they so desired. And then I think I glossed over military sciences, but we have been approved through the United States military to have our JROTC, and all of these programs would transition, and the big transition will be fall of 2027. And so we're about a year out now. We would start to, and you can kind of see the domino effect that has to happen. We have to get Locust Grove to a place where we can move programs in there. That then frees up space to bring in new programs, and we're envisioning all of that's going to need to happen and start building that out. So like dental assisting, for example, we can start that program in a classroom, and then as we're building out the lab. So it's not something that the lab doesn't have to be done on day one. We can start to transition that program. So that would be after the program audit and all the feedback, those would be the recommendations for programs and where they are at and what they would do for our CT programs in West Ada. Oh, I missed one. Really quickly, it's 8:30. I'm gonna sum this up. One of the other opportunities that I think is really exciting out of Locust Grove is it gives us an opportunity, again, to kind of re-envision what CT looks like in West Ada. We were able to tour a facility in Arizona, a CT center in Arizona. They had, if you can envision, a residential construction lab in which they had open stud bays. The students could see the and so the picture that's displayed is of an actual house, but you can envision, I hope, that's what we would hope to accomplish in the new CT center. Open stud bays, they could see the circuitry, they could see where the wiring goes, how all of those systems interact together. They could tear it out, they could put it back together. And I know it's probably a little scary, but we would have students wiring a house, wiring a wall, and actually wiring outlets, and that's how students learning by doing. And so we want to give them the tools to be able to actually do that and expand those possibilities. Before I step out and turn it over to Dr. Reinhardt, any questions?
Vice Chair Zuna.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have one question, just as I think about, our job and asking questions related to budget, how do you, when you're looking at expanding these programs or moving things around, how do you get the right expertise to make sure that we're doing the design to meet the needs of the CTE programs that we're bringing in? Where do we find those experts if we don't have the staff members already that are in that field?
Chair Frazier, Vice Chair Ozuna, great question. So we've actually toured, I mentioned we toured other CT centers. That's been very critical. We actually took the architecture firm down with us, and they walked with us through that facility, gleaned a lot, asked a lot of questions. We're still in contact with that superintendent that runs that career technical center down there. And then it's the beauty of CTE, and why I think it works so well, is we have such strong partnerships with industry. When I say that we talk to industry and ask them, I'm not just saying that. We're talking to ESI and saying, by the way, they're gonna hire 6 of our kids in this year, out of this year, which is exciting, I just found out. But ESI, it will give us feedback, and they will say, this is what we need to see out of your programs, we then can go and do. And so when we need expertise, lots of times we're going to that industry partner. The other one is we have, with the new House bill money, there's quite a few tech centers that have been popping up throughout Idaho. So I have strong relationships with other CTE directors across the state that have gone through this experience recently, and they say, oh, do this, don't do this, make sure you include this. And so, and then our teachers are very passionate. They have a lot of great ideas, they have a lot of great background, many of them have industry experience, and so we lean on them, and then we bring it all together with a great owner's rep and a great architect and a great construction manager to say, how do we design this in a way that's thoughtful? And so I think what Dr. Reinhardt's going to present here in just a second is a plan that is probably about 6 iterations in already, that we've been just tweaking and tweaking and tweaking until we get it to a spot where we feel like we're in a pretty good spot. But I will also say that just today, I got an email from the architect saying, I think we need to get another feedback loop from our teachers. So we're gonna go back to our teachers and ask them one more time, or probably not the last time, give us a little bit more feedback, a little more input. Is there anything we're missing? What other aspects might we need to pay attention to? So, any other questions? Great.
Madam Chair, Trustees, Dr. Bubb, in order to get those programs going for 2027, the CTE Center at Locust Grove is really essential in order to build out and to create some of those spaces for other programs. You'll see from this the site plan is just an initial pass at what we think is how bus circulation is going to work around the building. That's the yellow path where Miranda Carson's worked with us closely, and then that on the 1.1 acres to the north, that is the concept for how we will accommodate 143 other parking spots on the site. On this particular slide, I want you to, if you would, look at the base price model on the left first. And I'm just going to talk us through that a little bit because I think it fits into what Director Shoemaker's mentioned. If you look at the dark purple, tonight I'm going to present a price that is a base price and then alternatives to that base price that would bring that price up. And so we'll start at the base. At the very least, what will be built are the things in purple. So you'll see on the top of that is the Power Sports Lab, followed by construction labs, and that bottom purple portion are the 60 welding bays that he spoke of. The dark green in the middle are classroom spaces. He talked about having 2 classrooms, 2 instructors on each of those programs. So you might have teacher A giving a test in a classroom and teacher B welding in the lab or working on motorcycles. So those spaces are built in the base price. There's a firewall, there are like why does it get expensive? They have to cut concrete to get bathrooms in, they have to make it handicap accessible, they have to keep fires from moving, they have to build walls, they have to build ventilation systems. It's all of those pieces. The light pink or the pink areas are really extra spaces, really open spaces in that base price. If you look at the right, these are the alternatives. These are the dials we can push and pull when the bids come in to get the price where it needs to be to fit within Chief Roberts' vision of the COP, but to also give the CTE programs adequate space for their programs. So if you see the red in the center over the classrooms, that red is really saying we'll build all the infrastructure in place so that we could build on top of those classrooms. So the day will come, we're not going to build on top of those classrooms on the first phase, but one of the alternatives is we'll put the infrastructure in and we can build on top of those classrooms. The other, you'll see the light yellow. That is he spoke of what might be semiconductor manufacturing and technician spaces. That might be that space, and that's an alternative space. We could either leave that open or we could actually enclose that. That's one of those dials we can push when the bids come in. The blue to the next to it are some additional administrative areas for a conference room and a space for a SRO and for an assistant principal to run that particular building. We already have that light blue in the, I didn't point that out, the light blue in the original design. That will be just enough, but we could build that out more with one of those alternatives. You'll see the orange spaces and the alternatives, kind of orange squares. Those are some additional classroom spaces in those construction labs that would have storage on top. So a lot of CTE programs are pretty storage intensive. You have to put the motorcycles someplace, you have to put the lumber someplace, you have to put the steel someplace. That's one of those alternatives that we could push or pull. If you could go back, Ken, I'm sorry, back to the drawing. And I just ask, do you have any questions about what you're seeing there? Because I look at it all the time, and it can be disorienting. Students would come in from the parking lot. You'll see kind of a long hallway there. They come in from the parking lot. We have to do that because buses have to drop them off on the door side, so they don't have to walk in front of buses. If none. If you remember when I presented about 4 years ago now, maybe 3, on when we were talking about a plant facility levy, we talked about a very large CTE building that was going to be built at Owyhee. We were estimating that cost would be about $100 million. If we look at this particular project, when we started this out in terms of our iterations with the architect and the contractors, we were at this build out portion, this kind of building the inside spaces. We were at $16.54 million, and they were building classrooms on top of classrooms, and it was everything we needed. We value engineered that through multiple meetings to say what's essential, what are the things we need to get the CTE program going. And we've reduced that to that base price of, we'll call it $12.8 million. Those alternatives that I mentioned, those 2 construction classrooms, the administrative space, the future lab shell, those are, we estimate those prices to be what is seen on the screen. And so what we are presenting to you tonight as a proposal is a range. And that range would start at a base price at the lowest of $12.74 and $299, and with the alternatives would be at $13.8 million. Not factored in here is the CTE program received a grant for infrastructure at $1.25 million, and that money would be spent immediately to begin to order infrastructure and have it in place. So that would be a reduction to this ultimately. Next steps. The city and ACHD, we've already been involved with them. We'll be involved with them through a formal application process this summer. Final prices would be given to the board in the fall with those bids, and then we would carve out some of that concrete and begin construction at that same time. And then fall of 2027, classes would open to West Ada students. I stand for any questions.
Any comments or questions? Vice Chair Zuna.
I'll ask one. Thanks. This is really fantastic, and I know that there's so many people in our community and our students that are so excited about this. My question for you is tonight we're going to be asked for a vote on what we're looking at here. In the future, we'll also probably see something similar for the movement and the creation of the existing space and what that's going to turn into. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, Vice Chair Ozuna, that is correct. That would be the next place we'll turn our attention is to those build outs for those other programs. But as Director Shoemaker mentioned, we will be opening those programs to them next year, and those programs will begin to roll. But we'll begin working in earnest through ROTC is free, right? That's just going to be moving some desks into an open space and go. The other programs, we're working out those partnerships that could be anywhere from 0 to more, and with dental assisting. And so we'll be hammering that out in the coming months, and we'll come right back to you.
Great. Well, thank you, and I'm thankful for the work that's being done with our business partners as well. So thank you.
Other comments or questions? I think it's beyond exciting. I mean, I think back to presentation, I can't remember when, but talked about the number of students that graduate when they hit that capstone, the number of students that graduate when they get to participate in CTE, and the work you're doing to make sure that we're hitting as many of those interests as possible, to make sure that we're giving options to our community, opportunities to our kids. It's exciting. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. With that, I'm open to a motion. Trustee Benetti.
No.
Don't fail me. Trustee Brown. Okay, I need somebody to make a motion.
I'll make a
Trustee
motion.
McCullough.
I move that the West Ada School District of Trustees authorizes the superintendent or his designee to proceed with the design, bidding, and project development of the CTE Center at Locust Grove.
Is there a second? Trustee Brown?
I second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0 with Trustee Benetti in the room. With that, I'm open to a motion for executive session. Trustee Brown?
I move that West Ada Board of Trustees enter executive session per Idaho Code 74-2061B to consider the evaluation, dismissal, or disciplining of, or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent or public school student.
Is there a second? Trustee McCullough?
I'll second that.
This is a roll call vote. Trustee Benetti?
Aye.
Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Trustee McCullough?
Aye.
Vice Chair Zuna?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. We will enter executive session at 8:47. We'll resume open session at 9:19. That will move us to the need for action on executive session. Do I have a motion? Trustee Benetti.
I move to approve the administration's decision to place employee H on administrative leave and to continue such leave until a new recommendation is brought before the board.
Do I have a second? Trustee Brown.
I second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. That takes us to good of the order. We do have one individual that has signed up tonight. We'll always remind you have 2 minutes. Please keep it to high level, not any person, staff member, or anything like that. It is Miss Shelley Johnson. Welcome.
I'll make it quick since it's late. Chairwoman Frazier, the board, Dr. Bubb, I have valued the collaboration between the district and the West Ada Education Association this year, as I have served as president of the WAEA. I truly appreciate our shared values to make West Ada the best place to learn for our students and the best place to work for our staff. As we have built relationships and developed trust, I have been so excited for the future of West Ada, with the dream of making a positive impact across the district. With the passage of HB 516, there are some uncertainties for the association in the upcoming school year, and I truly hope that we can find a way to continue our work together that abides by the law and allows for continued collaboration and growth for our staff and students. When we work together, we can make great things happen. Thank you.
All right, we didn't have anyone else signed up tonight. With that, I'm open to any future agenda items. Seeing none, I'm open to a motion to adjourn. Anyone? Trustee Benetti.
Motion to adjourn, please.
Tell you Benetti leaves and nobody knows what to do. Is there a second? Trustee Brown.
I second.
Any conversation? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We will adjourn at 9:22.